So I've seen a lot of people in tech complaining about the tutorial hell. And I think I've started to understand why people fall into that trap. If you just understand the two types of study that I'm gonna explain in this video and know the right expectations you should have in each one of them, then I believe I can guarantee you'll never feel the tutorial hell again. And for the people who don't know what the tutorial hell is, it's just when you start watching tutorials one after the other and feel that you're learning stuff, but when you go to actually use what you were learning, you realize that you don't even know where to start. And then you have to research all over again. So yeah, let's talk about the two study methods. There is the structured learning and the just-in-time learning. Both are super important. The structured learning is when people find some tutorial series or some online course and just watch them in order without moving a finger. Some of them actually have some exercises for you to practice what you're learning, but to be honest, I usually don't do them, and I feel that most people also don't. They just leave it for later and then completely forget about them. On the other hand, the just-in-time learning is when you decide what you're gonna build, and then you start researching and learning just the minimum required knowledge to be able to build what you wanna build. And yeah, both these types of learning are super important. You should find a good balance between them. The just-in-time learning is what's gonna give you the actual ability to use what you're learning, the language or the framework or the software that you're learning. While the structured learning is what's gonna give you the general knowledge of the thing you're learning, the features and tools and things that exist inside what you're learning. And knowing those things can be really good for improving the workflow on future projects. For example, if you're learning React, you can go a long way without watching tutorials, just by building stuff. But when you start watching some online course or something, you might discover some really cool libraries that people are using for real-time stuff or for state management inside your app. Or you might discover some new hooks that you didn't know exist, like use memo or use callback. Or even some native components that you never used, like suspense or the fragment component. And believe it or not, I went quite some time without knowing the fragment component. Because these are things that you can go a long way without knowing they exist and still be able to build some cool projects. But once you know them, they can open some doors and improve the efficiency and quality in future projects. So yeah, structured learning is really important. But one thing that I see most people do that I usually avoid is to start with the structured learning. I believe that in the beginning, you should try to go for the just-in-time learning as soon as possible. Just try to put some output before getting input. Just choose something that you want to build and start building it. And once you've got more familiarized with the thing you're learning, maybe go find some course or some tutorial series to watch. When you watch a course already having some familiarity with the topic, the amount you can absorb for the course is way higher than if you were learning from scratch. But just remember to have the right expectations when watching a course, because you won't be able to actually apply the things you learned. But you will know a lot of new concepts and features that will help you facilitate research when you need them. So if you understand what you're actually getting from the type of study that you're doing, you should never feel the tutorial hell again. Yeah, that's how I like to approach learning. If you have another opinion or another method that has worked for you, please leave it on the comments. I'd love to know how other people are approaching their learning. And if you liked the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more of my content, don't forget to subscribe as well. See you in the next one. Mata né!